Hi everyone, I'm super excited to be back again with another video, and this video is special because I received a lot of your comments asking me to talk about the tips for improving the GMAT for specific sections like the critical reasoning, for example. And in this video, I will be going over the different strategies for acing the critical reasoning section and also the resources that help me level up. Now, before I start the video, I want to share my score report with you. This is my score report, and as you see, I scored a V44 on the verbal section, which is not very common for a non-native English speaker. Now, how I managed to do this, I will exactly reveal in this video. So do watch it till the end, and if you're liking the content, consider subscribing to the channel. With that, let's get started. Now, number one tip for critical reasoning is you have to aim for single read comprehension. For example, when you read a sentence on the exam, you have to ask yourself, when you see a comprehension, that how are the sentences interlinked? So if you look at this example here, tell me what you think is the use of the word since here in this sentences. Is since used in the context of time, or is since used to provide the reasoning? Let me know your answers in the comment section. With that, let's move on now to the second tip. The second tip is that please do not obsess about pre-thinking. Now, pre-thinking means that you try to guess the answer to a particular choice, and I would say that it is not absolutely necessary for you to do that. What is important is that when you read a particular question, ask yourself what's the typical answer going to look like. For example, you don't have to come up with an exact statement, but yes, you have to, for example, on a strengthen question, you would say, I'm looking for a particular choice that will increase my belief in this conclusion. Moving on now to the third point. The third point is focus on the conclusion. This is absolutely essential because a lot of the times when we are asked to strengthen or weaken, we are trying to strengthen or weaken the reasoning, and that directly impacts the conclusion. Now, if you're not able to identify the conclusion in the first place, then you need to first do that. And every time you solve any critical reasoning question, focus on the conclusion. After identifying the conclusion, make sure that your understanding of what is a premise is clear and what's a counter premise is clear. This will help you tremendously. Now, moving on to tip number 4. This is absolutely crucial that you analyze all the choices before picking one. Sometimes because people are so accustomed to pre-thinking or having a pre-notion of an answer, that they quickly rush and pick a choice only to find out that it's the wrong one. So in critical reasoning, always analyze all the options before making your choice. The last tip which I have is that you need to have a strategy for each of the question types. Now, each of the question types, for example, inference, assumption, strengthen, weaken, method of reasoning, boldface, all these have a specific strategy that you have to develop when you're attempting these questions, and you cannot figure this during the exam that how will I attempt it. So you have to train your mind to think this is a strategy that I'm going to use. With that, I've wrapped up all the tips which I wanted to share. Now moving on to the best resource for GMAT critical reasoning. This is a resource that actually helped me level up quite significantly, and I remember when I took my first mock, I had a score of a V22 or V23, and I used the official guide first to improve that to a V32. But when I reached a V32, I realized whatever I tried, my score would never improve on the verbal section and especially the critical reasoning section. This is when I came across this book, the GMAT CR Bible. This was really a gem that I found, and it helped me improve from a V32 to a V44. And I feel this is the best resource for critical reasoning that one must have if they're preparing and looking to score high. So having talked about the resource, now let's move on to the study plan. How do you make use of the strategies that I discussed along with this book? Well, the best thing to do is keep 3 to 4 days for each subsection. So for example, if you begin with the assumption, you spend 3 to 4 days on it, and then you move on to, for example, strengthen, weaken, method of reasoning, so on and so forth. Now let's talk about what you do in these 3 to 4 days. On the day 1, you read the chapter from this book, and make sure you understand everything that the book has to say about that chapter. At the end of the chapter, you solve the 2 or 3 questions which they have, and then on the second day, you have to do about 30 questions from the official guide pertaining to that chapter. Finally, on the third day, do a strategic review. Look at the questions that you got right in those 30 and the ones that you got wrong, and try to identify in the ones that you got wrong, what was it that was making these wrong. Make sure you reread the chapter in case there are some gaps, and then you keep doing this for each subsection till you have a decent accuracy across the CR section. Make sure to do all of these questions untimed. That's it for this video, folks. Thank you so much for watching. For the next video, I'm going to be making it on another topic which I'm going to pick from the comments. So if there's something that you are interested in, feel free to write it out and I will consider making a video on that one as well. With that, if you enjoyed the content, consider liking it and subscribing to my channel, and I will see you all the next time then. Till then, take care.